Okay, picture this. It's early. Your alarm is still kind of ringing in your ears. You make your way to the shower and you know what's coming. You take that deep breath, you brace yourself, and you turn that knob all the way to cold, right? The shock hits, and for at least a few seconds, you question every single life choice that led you to this exact moment. So let's just get right to it. That's the real question, isn't it? I mean, beyond the bragging rights or that initial jolt of, let's be honest, suffering, what is the actual payoff here? Why are so many people, from pro athletes to CEOs, swapping their cozy, worn morning shower for a blast of icy water? Well, over the next few minutes, we are going to break it all down. We'll start with the benefits, then we'll decode the science behind that initial shock. We'll hear from some real people, I'll give you a practical guide to get started, and then finally, we'll look at how this is really truly about training your mind. Okay, let's get right to the good stuff. What do you actually get in return for that moment of intense discomfort? It's time to separate the real, scientifically backed benefits from all the hype you see online. So, the rewards really fall into two big buckets. On the physical side, yeah, we're talking about things like faster muscle recovery, a little boost to your metabolism, but the mental game changers, that's where it gets really interesting. We're talking about a massive rush of a key brain chemical and literally training your body to handle stress. Let's start with the biggest mental game changer of them all. I want you to just look at this number for a second. 250%. That is the potential increase in dopamine, the molecule of motivation and focus, that your brain can release after cold exposure. That is a massive, sustained surge of a natural, feel-good chemical. But here's what's really wild. It's how long it lasts. See, unlike that quick hit from a cup of coffee or scrolling social media, this dopamine boost doesn't just spike and then crash. No. Studies show it can stay elevated for hours, setting this positive, focused tone for a huge chunk of your day. So you're basically trading a few moments of cold for hours of mental clarity. Okay, so to understand how we get all those benefits, we've got to look under the hood. That initial shock, it isn't just an unpleasant feeling. It's actually a super powerful biological signal that kicks off this whole chain reaction inside your body. First off, what do we even mean by cold? Look, we're not talking about absolute ice water here. The sweet spot is around 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 10 to 15 Celsius. The key isn't the absolute temperature, it's the drop in temperature from your body's normal state that creates that therapeutic shock. So, the second that cold water hits, your body's alarm system goes off in this three-step process. First, you get the shock. That triggers what's called vasoconstriction, which is just a fancy word for the tightening of all the blood vessels near your skin. This then forces your blood to rush inward, flooding your vital organs with fresh, oxygenated blood. You can think of it like a full system reboot. Now, this process has some amazing downstream effects. For instance, a 2021 UK study found that people who took cold showers consistently for just 6 weeks showed a 30% increase in their count of disease-fighting white blood cells. So you're essentially putting your body through a training session to become more robust and ready for anything. All right, data and charts are great, but what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's take these ideas out of the lab and see how they translate into actual life stories and what the experts are saying. So you have stories like Sarah, who discovered that a daily 2-minute cold shower helped her manage her anxiety way better than other methods she tried. Or take marathon runners, who use this to slash their post-race recovery time. And you have experts, like Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who are even connecting this practice to anti-aging, saying it helps our cells work more efficiently. The applications here are just so diverse. Okay, so you're intrigued. You see the benefits, you kind of get the science, but the thought of that icy blast is still, terrifying. Don't worry, there is absolutely a way to get started that doesn't involve screaming your head off. This is the simplest, easiest way to begin. It's called the 30-second rule. You just take your normal warm shower, do everything you usually do. Then, right at the very end, take a deep breath and crank the water to cold for just 30 seconds. That's it. It's a small, totally manageable dose of the good stuff. Now listen up, because this is probably the most important trick in the book. Your instinct is going to be to gasp and tense up. You have to fight that. As that cold water hits you, force yourself to exhale, long and slow. This simple action tells your nervous system that you are in control, and it overrides that initial panic response, making the whole thing so much easier to handle. All right, let's quickly cover a few common mistakes. First, timing really matters. Taking an ice-cold shower right after you lift weights can actually blunt muscle growth, so it's better to do it before your workout or hours later. Second, safety first always. If you have any kind of heart condition, please talk to your doctor before trying this. And finally, don't feel like you have to go all in at once. Seriously, just start with your feet and hands in the cold water to let your body ease into it. We've talked a lot about dopamine and blood cells and all the physical stuff, but as we start to wrap this up, I want to pivot to what might be the most profound benefit of all. This isn't just about your body. It is about your mind. This quote really just gets to the heart of it all. Every single time you willingly step into that cold water, you are teaching your brain a really powerful lesson. I can handle hard things. You are practicing voluntary discomfort. And this builds a kind of mental resilience that goes way beyond the bathroom, helping you face stress and challenges in every other part of your life with a much calmer, stronger mindset. So I'll leave you with this to think about. If cold showers had a slogan, what would it be? Something like 5 seconds of misery for a full day of awesome? Look, it's not going to solve all your problems, but as we've seen, it might just make you the kind of person who can. Thanks for diving in with me.